Just like I promised, I want to do a quick demo on how you could use your old camera with its AV feature and set up a live stream for your church or your meeting. So I'm going to be doing the recording with my mobile device. I'm just going to be streaming this, by pointing out the gadgets for you, what I'm going to use. Okay, right now I have here this Sony camera. It's actually an old model of camera. Uses a HDV camera and uses mini DV tape right there. That's the mini DV compartment right there, and you could see that it's pretty old. A lot of the functions and features of these cameras are not working. For example, the LED screen. Yeah, if I turn it on, you could see that the LED screen is not responding, but the camera itself is functioning. For example, if I show you right there, you could see that the camera is actually working. The LED screen is bad. There's a bit of issue with the zoom control, and also the HDMI port is also faulty. So it's relatively, you can say it's dead right now. It's not as useful as it should be, but you can't control any of the units, a few of the things there, but you could use this to set up a quick live stream for yourself if you do have this, instead of keeping it out there in the drawer, keeping it locked down, not putting it to use in any way. And one or two of you have cameras of this nature that you might want to make use of. So I'm showing you here what I'm going to do. Here is the AV cable that came with this camera, right? Pretty have it retained. That's the exact one that came with it years ago. You could see the plug head type for this as it is right there. Good. So that's going to go into this compartment over here at the back, at the rear of the camera. Now we would be, for this demo, there are a couple of other capture devices we might make use of, but I want to make use of either of this, which is more of a Pinnacle box, or this one that has an input and output, relatively the same thing. Now you have S-video, you have the normal video channels and audio channels. There is the USB cable that's going to work with this device, and I've also provided here I've also made provision here for this USB 3.0 extender. I'm using a 3.0 extender because I don't want to have drop frames like that. Extending the 3.0 port, USB 3.0 port, and I'm bringing it over here, and it's going to give me two USB ports, and at the same time it's going to give me a mic channel and an audio channel. So I won't be using any of the one on the system. I'll just be using this single device to input both the video signals and the audio signal from this device. But for this demo, I'm going to stick with just the video signal, because this one is not going to take in your audio signal. You will have to route either from your console, your audio console, or any other channel in which you want to use to get your audio signal into this very point here on this device. And in case you don't have that, you could utilize the audio channels on your laptop to do exactly that, to do just that. I've set up the OBS software on the system, just a simple installation, and it's black here. The scene is also empty, and then you could also notice there that there's no device installed or activated on it just yet. Now, what we will do first of all is hook up this device, to the PC and have it detect in the system. I'm recording alone with the camera. I'm with my camera here, and I'm kind of one-handed at the moment, so pardon that. I just want to make this a quick demo for those of you who have been asking the questions about these. So let me plug this in. Okay, so now I have this plugged in. I'm going to be plugging this other end into this one. So here you go. So at this point, I will expect it to detect. So this is where I'm going to look at my most of you need to install the driver for this. That if you're using this, you need to install the driver. If you don't install the driver, it's not going to work. You can see that it has lit up here because the driver is actually installed and it's been detected in the system. If I open up device manager here, I could quickly show you the driver. I'm going to open software and you could probably see there the selected item, right? This is the 510 model of it. I'm using the black, I'm using this one, which is 710. So you need to probably go to the Pinnacle site, check out for their legacy devices like these ones, and then download and install the driver in your system to make use of this, or it would not work. Good. So that is out of the way. The next thing, we have to connect this one to the camera. So let's connect this to the camera. I'm going to be plugging it in here, so I'll need my hands free. Then the camera itself is up. Let me turn the lights on. The camera is on. And if you are going to plug this like we have just done, remember that your input is in the front where you have the light. This is an output channel. Do not plug to the back of this device. Plug to the front part of this device where you have the indicator. You can also see the firewire port right there. Now we are done with that, and then we would want to insert a video capture device. Right, I'm going to just input the device now, and I'm selecting if you could see that, the Pinnacle 710 USB. Right, good. So it's going to pick a good setting on its own. If it doesn't, then you might want to go to custom and indicate what setting you want to use. You could use that. And if you use PAL, NTSC, you might start having these kind of binding lines, these lines across. These devices, I think, are predominantly PAL. And the camera itself is a Sony camera, and it's a PAL camera. You know, it's PAL. So the signal itself coming from the camera, it's PAL. You need to be aware of that. Then you need to also ensure that you are providing the same setting here. So if you're going to use a custom setting, those are the things you should be mindful of. These ones are slimmer, smaller. You could have different settings, but I'll go with the first option right there, or just keep it at the default from the top here. Device default. That's it. It's much better. Everything here at the moment I'm leaving at the default. I'll hit this, and the next is to scale this up. So let's just stretch to fit screen. So we stretch to fit screen. That's it. Now this is actually the camera. This is actually input from the camera. You could see here, I'm with my phone. So this is the input from the camera right here. So I'm going to show you the recording here. So let me activate recording here. So I could just show you from the camera these a bit of this recording, so you could see the resolution itself. There is no color correction right now. So if we want to do a bit of color correction to that, sorry, my table is a bit clamped up here. I was just trying to answer these questions today. It wasn't like prepared for. So let me increase the contrast. Sorry, I was showing you something else. Let me add a filter, a color correction filter, increase the contrast, and maybe a little bit on the. So yeah, so now you can see This I think this camera also takes a bit of time to adjust its focus. So if you want to, you could switch over to manual focus. Right there, there's a knob for that to go manual. There's a knob, but I think you need to choose manual on the screen and then go there. And because the touch screen is not working, I can't make any of those settings happen. So you could see that, yeah. See the resolution. That's pretty good, at least for this. Now there are other devices for this. So there are other devices. I'm actually using just a lamp, which is single lamp. You could see the output of the camera right there. If it's a bit too dark, you could still return to filter. You could still return to filter. I click filter and then play a bit with the gamma or with the brightness. With the gamma or with the brightness value. Like that. So you could get something of that nature. So remember, this is what we're making use of. The USB is there behind. This is here. We have our USB port plugged in there. We're using this device. Our sound is going to come from the source, our sound source, right into this point, or any other sound device you have on your system. That will be feeding into this guy over here. I noticed a bit of binding lines on the top there, which is not much of a problem. But if you scale up slightly, you could actually crop. Remember, you could crop out certain areas of the screen. I'm not running an OBS session today. But there's a screen there which you could use to, from the top there, take out a little bit of that, and the binding is gone. You could see that the binding is gone right there. Take up a little bit of that, the binding is gone. See? All right. So if you have a question, you could ask and try to answer your question if you have any. Right? So this is the camera we're using. It's an old camera. Like I told you, a lot of the features are not functioning. But if we keep a tape running in this camera, then it will keep this camera on for the duration of time. And the tape doesn't need to be used. You just keep the tape in to keep this camera running and preventing it from going into sleep. Right? You could intermittently be pushing a record or stop button if you want to. All you need is just the output that goes out to the screen, just like that. So I'm moving it here. And then you connect to this device over here. Send that to your system. Maybe from this, put this in your system. And by the way, you could use your USB port directly in case you want to ask about that. I'm only using this to have some level of freedom and have my sound input and USB input get as one. So this is not compulsory that you have this. It's not compulsory that you have this. It's not a necessity. You could skip this completely. And if you don't have this one, you could try something like this. Yeah, you could try something like this. It plugs directly into your system and then it connects. I don't know if we could take a look at this now, or maybe we will do this in the next video tomorrow or any other day. So just subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell, so by the time I want to demo this, you probably would be there to see it. So that's the camera. You could see the camera. I'm moving it. You could see the screen. Yeah. So that's just it for what I have to show you. So ask your questions. That's the output. and we record, and